Good morning, Bev Hepting here. It's been a strange day, and I have been really looking at the word change because there's been some changes in life, in business, and in all sorts of things. As you will have heard, if you've been following these video things, that I have looked at my business and made some changes. I've simplified things. I brought the programs down. At the moment, I'm only selling 3 programs at 3 different price points that anyone can afford. I have got rid of all the shiny objects that I thought I needed, and actually, it's a bit like the TV. You only watch 3 or 4 channels out of 100 and odd, so I brought all that down and reduced my outgoings. Now, the reason I wanted to talk to you today is, one, because I'm a speaker, so why wouldn't I speak? That's what I do. It's about why we do what we do. Now, I'm quite a spiritual person. I absolutely believe in the law of attraction. I absolutely believe in the more you give, the more you get. I absolutely believe in all of that. However, just recently, certainly this year, and remember we're only 2 months in, but this year, I have been looking at things maybe in a different light, because actually we are in business to make money. That's why we do it. I need to make money. I want to make money. And I want to do it in all sorts of ways. I don't just want to be Bev the speaker. I run multi-level marketing. Just started that again this year because I love the products. In fact, I used to sell the products at a market many years ago, so I know how great the products are. And it's something in the back of my head that I just kept thinking, I could do that. I love the products. They're affordable, they're fun, all of that sort of stuff. And I want a second income. I want a passive income. I don't want to be working till I'm 90 just to make enough money to pay the rent. And yes, I have vision boards, people, and I have all of that, and I do my... But sometimes the universe expects you, the person, to make great effort in making change in your life. And I think sometimes we fall back on if I have a pretty picture on the wall telling me what I want, that's enough. Well, I'm here to tell you, folks, it's not enough. It's not enough. The world is going through huge change at the moment, huge change. And anyone who isn't seeing that as a big picture needs to wake up. We've got floods, we've had fire, we've got locusts. Where did they come from? Changing climate. We've got change in the way we do business, the way we shop, the way we live, our healthcare. Everything is changing, and it's changing very fast. And that's the thing. Now, as a speaker, I'm quite lucky. We speak. There's not a lot you can really do about that in terms of making it different, unless you can create holograms and electronic devices that will do it all for you. But actually, isn't this that? And looking at the world today with everything that's going on, it's quite a scary place to be. I certainly, this year, decided I'd put an online event on. Now, I haven't done a big event in about 18 months. I've done live events, just they were all live while they were there. But I wanted to do an online summit this year, which I have dived into. The idea is still pulling together on global change. But I want to look at the people who are doing their bit to make that change, and how they're doing that, and how we can connect all those bits of change together for the better. We can't change the way the world is going. People shout about climate change. Yes, we can change our habits. And I'm not falling on either side of that fence on whether we've created climate change or this is a natural cycle. I'm not experienced enough. I'm not a scientist. I have no idea. Can only look at the world today in the way I look at it and say, something's not right. So in terms of changing my behaviour in how I get rid of my rubbish, plastics in the house, all of that. That's on my conscience, and it's on each individual's conscience. It has to be, because we can't hold ourselves responsible for what goes on in the whole world. But I wanted to gather people together that I have met and talked to who are doing their little bit. And that's what the summit's going to be around. So I'm not going to tell you any more about that because that's coming later in the year. But it was part of my looking at this idea of change. Business, I think, has to change. People want different. And I'm not sure if that's a natural evolution or it's something we are being conditioned to believe. Now, I'm an older lady. I'm 60, putting it out there. So I've seen a lot of change over the years. Way back, when I was a kid, I think I went through all the fads, the skinhead, the new romantics. I was a hippie, I was a punk. I've done all that. And I have seen, when I was a kid, we had 3 channels. We didn't have computers. There wasn't the array of cards. You were lucky if you had one in a family. We walked to school. Yeah, God, don't I sound old now? And that's not a lecture. That's about how, as we get older, it's can we keep up with the change? And is the change necessary? Or is it change for change's sake? Now, working online and working with this whole new medium of marketing and advertising and all the other stuff has been extremely challenging for me. Because I was part of a culture that did it differently. Well, the old ways of doing things. And the change is actually brilliant. This change is great, but hard to keep up with. And then I have to ask myself, if it's not working for me, and I'm following the advice of all these marketers, and I'm doing the challenges, and I'm doing the courses and everything else to try and really get my head around marketing today. If it's not working, is it because it can't work for everyone? And actually change just means how we as individuals do something different. I love what I do, but it is a business and it's my way of earning money. And I'm a very, very lucky woman, I know, to be able to do what I love and earn money from what I love. But I get easily sucked in to the latest way we're marketing, to the latest way we're using Google, to the latest way we're using this, that and the other. Magpies have got nothing on me when it comes to shiny object syndrome. But is it doing me or my business any good? Or is it creating more conflict for me because it's not sitting right? And I think that's where integrity comes into our values in our business. And, my hubby, bless his heart, but, he will go on at me all the time about, really shouting and screaming about what I do and everything else. And I say to him, no, one, I'm told not to do that, but 2, that doesn't sit right with me. So again this year, it's been, how do I want to be visible? How do I want to put myself out there? How do I want people to hear what I have to say? And what do I have to change to make that happen? And maybe my way of doing things isn't the same as everybody else's. Let's face it, how many women of my age run around with pink hair and ridiculous clothes, and I won't wear makeup and all the rest of this stuff, and I'm a really confident person in my own right, except every now and again when I need a tub of ice cream and a duvet. But maybe the way I need to do things is to stop listening and make that change. And somebody put a post up on LinkedIn, Brant put a thing up around how you have to move towards the change and see the change, and I hope I'm quoting this right, but paraphrasing, and not worry about how you're going to make the change, or words to that effect. But it actually struck me because that's exactly how I've been feeling. I know things have to be done differently for me, and I have to visualize that difference and then stop worrying about what's happening between what I'm doing and it achieving what I want it to achieve. Selling without selling. I have to sell, but I have to change how I do that within me so that I'm comfortable with it, and then the people who are hearing me, who are resonating with me, my ideal clients, hear it as well. This idea of the perfect client, is there such a well, there is such a thing, because I know who my perfect clients are and I exactly know who I don't want to work with. There's sorts of people. And I do niche down in various messages. I mean, people know I predominantly work with women because I'm absolutely passionate about women having the confidence to stand up and do what they do, say what they do, and be really proud of themselves for doing what they do. And yeah, I do work with men. I work with companies. I work with startups and scale-ups, and I do pitching for funding and how to do videos and how to do this. But it's always, for me, about what are we trying to say to the world? And maybe that global change I'm looking for is, why is the world not hearing what needs to be done? Why are some governments and some huge companies, why are they the ones that dictate what needs to be done? And so my contribution to change globally is to get people on stages talking about what they do and how awesome they are, and putting those ideas forward and finding a way to connect all those ideas so that those ideas become louder than some governments' voices and some multi-corporate companies' voices, so that what we do for the good of the planet and the people who live on it, and not shareholders who hold more stocks in companies that they couldn't spend that money if they tried. So for me, the word of the year is change. Small change. Change in ourselves, change in the way we do things, change in the sense that we don't follow every piece of advice because it worked for one person. Because just because it worked for one doesn't mean it will work for another. So I want you to have absorbed all that, I hope, and think about the changes you may need to make in your life, in your business. What sort of work do you need to do on yourself to be confident enough to say, this is how I want to do things, this is how I want to contribute, these are the habits I am going to change. Go and make those changes. And they don't have to be great big ones, they can be little tiny changes for you. Because if every person on the planet made that small change in a positive way towards a global change, that's a lot of big changes in the end. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.